Well, Tim, the new year is here. My mom's been given 1 week to live. Not a bad thing because she's been fighting ALS for a couple of years. It always comes back to comic books when I think of her. She would bring home books off the rack from the supermarket, and she got me all the Mego stuff, always supported my hobby. She paid for trips to San Diego Comic Con. And then he goes into his goals for the new year and says he'd like to hear what my goals are for the new year and stuff. And there's a bit more to the message. I got that last night, and I read it, and I sort of froze. He sent it a day before too, but I didn't see it till I think the next day. And and then I finally wrote back to him, and this weighed heavy on me because over the years I've gotten a lot of messages about this channel. And one of the things I've done on this channel over the years is talk about how personal a hobby can be, specifically comics. Also, over the years, a lot of people have been astute enough to know that there's been some things I talked about in life and stuff, and that the comic was just sort of a vessel to talk through. I was talking about real life stuff. People who have watched the videos over the years probably recognize a lot of these books that I've talked about. The book my grandmother gave me when I was 16. One of the best stories I ever read that actually almost brought a tear to my eye at the end. The first comic I bought with my money. Some of the comics that were the first ones I read, these were my stepdad's, and I've upgraded a bunch of them. These two comics I bought the day of the funeral of my grandfather. The Absolute Watchman that a bunch of my friends got together and bought for me when I was moving 3 hours away to be closer to my son. Pretty proud of what I've done over here in the last couple of years. And so I figure, we'll kind of look back at 2016 and see what I have to say about maybe 2017, because I was asked. My heart goes out to the person that sent me that message. And I think right off the bat, I think one of my goals in 2017 could be to be a better friend and be a bit more involved with the people in my life. Not that I've been slacking, I've been improving a whole lot over the last year, but sometimes you just, I'm a bit of a loner sometimes. But over the years with this channel, a lot of it's been talking about, what the hobby meant, what was going on around the time I was collecting some of these books, the joy it brings, and I talk a lot about, what the YouTube channel itself has brought. And again, I'm sometimes feel like a broken record. I talk about all the people that have come and gone, with their channels and stuff. A lot of the original guys are gone. The place has become big. It broke off into its own little communities. And at the beginning of 2016, I shot the video, I'm on the mountaintop and talking about heading north and stuff. Coming up close to a year since that video, and I got to tell you, man, it's been a good trip. And what that kind of did was this hobby that's always been, to me, a very personal kind of experience for anybody that sits down and actually reads some of these things. You go into the world of Watchmen, and it shows everything that a comic can do that you can't do in another medium and stuff like that. And then you can meet somebody who's probably read the thing 5, 10, 15 years after you read it the first time, and that person has the same experience. And you guys kind of connect on it. And then when I started to head north because of the trolling and some of the drama that was going on behind the scenes and stuff, cut a lot of things out of my life. People did more things that were important to me and stuff, and it's kind of like I went full circle. The hobby started becoming a little bit more personal. I met somebody that I'm really close to that's kind of been sort of one of the ways you're on the right path and stuff like that. Backed off of YouTube for a few months there. Did a lot of the behind the scenes Google chats for a while. And then in the real life, where I hit this thing where I got into the whole idea of personal accountability and decided to stop kind of sharing my life so much on here. Caught myself using the camera a little bit, kind of like a counselor sometimes, talking to you guys. Nothing wrong with that, but what happened was my life started getting enriched. I lost 25 pounds. I started coming out of my comfort zone in real life. Ended up taking a lot of great trips. It's been a blast, you know, a lot of stuff. And those amazing stories that I've had over the last couple months, I haven't shared. I've shared them with the people that were there. I've shared them with my friends in real life. Started journaling again, and it's been a long damn time since I did that. And it kind of seems that when you keep certain people out of your business and you watch what you put out there for people to see, you know, there's nothing that can really, you know, unintentionally jinx it, or you don't give people the ammunition to come after you a little bit. Sounds kind of paranoid, but I know some of the people that watch these videos. I know some of the people who kind of lurk behind the scenes and stuff. And it just kind of comes with doing this. You learn over time with experience. And all of a sudden, as things were going on and I was becoming self-aware, and I don't know, maybe I was getting a new kind of confidence and stuff like that, I made the video of the year for my channel. The SJWs are killing comics. And that kind of led to another path. With new experiences on here and stuff. And I had to reflect back on that video before I kind of veered off that trail and stuff. Not so much rein me in, but when I made that video, it was coming from the heart. And that thing is still getting views, and I'm still getting messages, and I'm still getting subs from it. And I stand by what I said in that video. And if you go back and watch the video, the reason that I think that I stand by that was because it talks about how the decline of comics in real actual sales, not from Diamond, where that's the stores buying them. I'm talking about the stores that sell those books. It was about the people whose lives are affected, and their livelihood is affected, and their family is affected. And that's probably why I was so just into that video when I was making it. I was in some zone. And the positive things that came out of that were completely different than what I've had over the years. You know, I've had people, great friends, people send me packages and stuff, and we talk on the phone for a while. But when I went to comic book conventions around here, that video was shared on like Facebook groups and stuff. You know, comic book Facebook groups and stuff in the local area and 3 Hour Circle. And here I went to 2 different cons not too long after shooting that video. And I had comic book store owners walk up and shaking my hand saying thank you for saying what you said. And I had people saying, you know, it was great that somebody finally said something and put it into words. You know, it touched a few people. It's one of the things where I can, you know, I have no doubt about that. And believe it or not, the hate that came from that video was very small. Seriously. And I didn't really have to deal with a lot of backlash. Not that I was worried about it. I can give a shit about some of that stuff. But there's about 3 videos that were about me, and it's amazing because they're on different levels of their saltiness, you know. One in particular, I got called a gatekeeper, you know. They totally missed the whole point of the video. Calling me some kind of gatekeeper, I'm assuming with the community or the hobby or something, giving me way too much credit. If I was a gatekeeper, we wouldn't be having the books that are coming out of, like, say, Marvel right now and stuff. And then one video in particular, my mind went straight forward to there's different ways to deal with people that decide to take something you've said from the heart, and it was the ideas and about the hobby, and they decide to try to make it personal and say personal things about you, and they turn off their, you know, they want no conversation. They turn off their, you know, ratings. They turn off their comments, and they decided they're going to disappear for a while from YouTube, which is the equivalent of being like a little kid who throws a rock and hides their hand after they try to break a window. And immediately I knew the video was going nowhere because it was, number one, it was getting judged by its actions of being a coward, of, you know, deciding you want to say something but not wanting to deal with the consequences. Number 2, the things that were said in that video were very hypocritical, as in, you don't own it either. And the mindset that I said the first thing when I saw that video, when I figured out you were talking about me, even though you didn't mention my name, and it was obvious to anybody, that the few people that did watch the video, was the fact that you would not mention my name. And right away I was like, I'm going to go down the river. I'm going to get a picnic tape, a little picnic. And I'm going to sit there and I'm going to enjoy my meal and the fruits of my labor and just wait for my enemies to float down the river. And that's kind of what happened to you, because even though you were saying this community needs a new voice, all your video has shown, here it is 3 or 4 months later, is nobody wanted to listen to yours. And the funny thing was is that after you made the video and said you want to disappear from YouTube, you were on Twitter and other places and you were sticking your chest out and you were like, "Did you see what I did? Did you see what I did?" Knowing full well that as you had your false bravado and your chest stuck out, and as you went back and forth, just, all proud of yourself, you probably turned around and saw the wall and jumped at your own shadow, looked around and kept doing it. It's kind of obvious. So, yeah. So that happened. But for that to be the only really negative that came out of YouTube over the year, it's small potatoes. I mean, it really is. I ended up getting to speak at a conference, at a comic book convention that went really well, better than I thought. I've done a couple over the years and stuff, but something about that one was really good. And like I said, the personal relationships and things like that have improved over the year. And when I do get around to sitting down and reading comic books, it's been a personal experience again. Problem is that you just kind of don't want to share all that sometimes. Sometimes, you just don't want to put yourself out there as much as you have over the years. Which is kind of cool, which is no big deal and stuff like that. And then here it is, we get towards the end of the year, beginning of the new year, and I started getting messages from people like what I read at the beginning of this video, and it kind of reminds me of what this channel is all about, because I almost veered off track. And I started another channel called the Hobo King, and I thought I was going to be talking about identity politics and the state of what was going on today, and things that were happening in comics and these trends in the colleges and the safe spaces. And then all of a sudden we had the election going on and the worst of everybody came out, and it was just, no. Because what happened is that relationship I had, that one person kind of set me down and knew how to talk to me, and I found out that she was basically an SJW. And to hear her explain a few things, it was like I realized that this was she was coming from the place of when the SJW movement, which started as a hashtag SJW, she was talking about things that were real problems with homophobia, real problems with real feminism, not this third way crap that's going on. How some of the things going on out there, they're just as extreme on one side as they are the other, the anti-SJWs, the SJWs, and this volatile environment you had, and these keyboard warriors and stuff to get out there and stuff, and it kind of made me shed a light, but it kind of did still make me mad about these SJWs that are the loudest on there, because it sounds like it started out as something that great things could have came out of, and it got hijacked by these extremists about ridiculous stuff that's not real, So it's kind of like, I think we missed out on something that could have been very special. So I got away from that. And then going back to some of the messages I got asked, when am I going to make another video about that? When am I going to talk more about what's going on in comics and Marvel in particular with SJW stuff? If I know one thing about that video, it's that by no means was it the first, but it definitely spawned, it definitely inspired quite a few people. I've seen more and more videos popping up talking about stuff like that. And a few's been pointed out to me. And the thing about it is the reason I didn't go down that trail is because what I did in that video was honest and from the heart. And I had a trilogy, and I finished the trilogy. I did the 3 videos. I said what I had to say. Anything that would have came after that would have been dishonest. It would have been pandering. It would have been clickbait. Because in all honesty, it's easy views. It's easy views with this current environment. And also, when I make these videos over the years and stuff, I am conscious of trying not to get trapped into trends. I am conscious of hoping that, it can be as relevant now and relevant 5 years from now if you watch the video just talking about the comic. because these comics, some of them are decades old now, but what's in there, it's still relevant as the art form, or what the story is trying to say, or having that author in there who's could really be in, we had that comic book writer who really has a novelist inside of him, stuff like that. And I didn't want my videos to turn into the equivalent of watching the Brady Bunch and hear them say groovy all the time. If these videos are seen years from now, who knows how long YouTube will last. So going into the new year with me being a lot more centered, having some very special people in my life, having some great friends, and having more, I don't know what the word is, but I think I'd like to go up with a career, something, kind of career focus and stuff, man. The Negan threw me off. I had the messages threw me off. I had a word, I can't remember what it was. But going into 2017, if you stuck around this long talking about the actual hobby, not just me, a little bit and stuff, I think I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. I'm going to get rid of a bunch of books. I've got a stack over here I got to figure out what to do with. And I want to take whatever profit or trade I can get to really refine my collection. It's time to, finish these series and these runs that I've kind of picked up here and there on the cheap and stuff like that. It's time to get rid of some of these books and just have them on the bookshelf in trades. That's read them in, because a lot of these books I'm not really emotionally attached to, but the stories are what I want. So I'm not really into the value of a few things. And possibly, start getting maybe a few keys here and there that I've had in the past, or, I've always just admired those books. And to be honest with you, I would love to be able to replace the box of comics that was stolen off me, off the U-Haul in 2010 when I was moving, that had my Jack Kirby Fantastic Four and my Incredible Hulk run. It'd be fantastic to be able to replace those. Some of those Fantastic Four Jack Kirby books are sort of irreplaceable because they came from my stepdad's collection. You know what I mean? There's thousands of roses out there, but sometimes you just have that one rose, like the Little Prince. It can't be replaced. But it'd be great to have all that stuff again, just hobby-wise. Other than that, we'll just see what it brings, see what I can do with my friends. I'm really not that interested in going to conventions anymore unless I have my friends going with me to making an event, eat dinner after it. So yeah, I think things have changed a little bit. All because I stood on a mountaintop and said I was going north. I get to just kind of be me now. Yeah. So my heart goes out to you, buddy, about your mom. Yeah, this video is for you, man. Okay. Later, guys.